Hey everybody, it's Christy Birchville. We are working our way through the book of Habakkuk. It's a little tiny book in the Old Testament, smushed between a bunch of other little tiny books. It's only 3 chapters long. We're in the middle of chapter 2, and we've been talking about a dialogue that Habakkuk has been having with God. Habakkuk sees the sin in his world and sees all the things that people are doing, the horrible, evil ways that the Babylonians are treating people, and he comes to God and says, okay, why, God? I don't understand. It's not fair. He asks that question. God answers him. He asks the question again a second way. And this time he's kind of like, look, I see all these terrible things and everything in the world that's just falling apart. And nobody's following you. And I don't understand why you're not judging it. I don't understand, God, why you're tolerating this. And so God answers him. And he starts what I'm going to call the 5 woes. Woe to this person, woe to this person. So as we go through these, we're going to take a day on each woe. And today is our first day. It's the first woe. And it is in chapter 2 of Habakkuk. It's verses 6 through 8. The woe itself is in verse 6. This is woe to him who piles up stolen goods and makes himself wealthy by extortion. How long must this go on? Now, God's been talking about, and this is God speaking here, he's saying, hey, look, yeah, I see all the evil things that are going on, and I see the terrible things that people are doing. And guess what? The other people, they're going to rise up and they're going to come back to the Babylonians who are doing these awful things, and they're going to make this statement. And they're going to say, woe to him who piles up stolen goods and makes himself wealthy by extortion. Woe to the people who are getting their wealth through unethical means, is really what he's saying here. Those people need to be careful, need to recognize that this is going to be terrible and it's going to be judged and addressed. Now, what does it mean to gain wealth by extortion? Piling up stolen goods. Okay, well, let's think back history wise. Babylonians are conquering everything at this point, right? They're taking over, they're trying to defeat the Assyrians, but they also, they want to be bigger than the Assyrians even were. So they're looking and addressing even other countries and other nations around. How does Babylon get a lot of their wealth? Well, they take it from the people that they conquered. They steal it from the people that they've conquered. Woe to him who piles up stolen goods and makes himself wealthy by extortion. The other thing Babylon was known for doing is that, okay, you want to be taken care of and you don't want to be destroyed. Fine. You pay us this really big fee and we won't destroy you. Extortion. That is how Babylon is making their money. Woe to the people who are doing these kinds of things, because they are going to be addressed. They are going to have their stuff stripped from them. As you go through verses 7 and 8, and it kind of finishes out God's explanation of this woe, we see that it's God addressing these things and saying, look, this isn't going to stand. The people that are this is happening to, they're going to rise up, and it's eventually they're going to come back and they're going to take their stuff back. For us, when we look at this and how this applies to our life, first off, we see God answering Habakkuk's question. It's great to know that God answers us even when we don't really understand or we don't see that happening. God wants to know, why are you tolerating this? Or Habakkuk wants to know, why are you tolerating this? God's saying, look, there's going to come a point where all of this is going to come to pass. But these people who are doing these things, they shouldn't be doing them, and they should understand it's going to create problems for them later. This is where the 5 woes come from. We need to make sure that we are not doing these things. Okay, we need to not be stealing from other people, whether that's money, whether that's notoriety, whether that's position, whether that's credit for people's work. We need to make sure we're not stealing from others, or that we're not gaining things through extortion and saying, hey, look, if you'll I'll take care of you. I won't throw you under the bus if you'll do this. We need to make sure that we are acting ethically and in line with how Christ would deal with situations. That's our learning for today. We're going to work our way through the next few woes in the next few days, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on those. And if you have missed any of the previous ones, there's a link to the playlist in the description below. I'll see you tomorrow morning.